And as a game creator, I look around at kind of what we are making and what are going to be her role models from the stories, and I don't like what I see. More specifically, I'm talking about our female characters. And whether we want to admit it or not, these are role models. And yet we sexualize, we objectify, we marginalize, and we reduce these female characters to a lot less than they can be. And this is coming from a guy that almost made a really misogynistic game. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. So once this thing failed and I had this awakening,
this for the bitches,
almost at
nigga.
exactly the same time, this Kickstarter happened about the tropes versus women in video games. And while you might argue with the way it delivers its
everything
message,
is racist,
or whether every
everything is
point
homophobic, and
is
you have
exact,
to point it
you can't
all
argue
out.
with just the pattern that you see in the industry. So I was really intrigued by this. The videos for the video games hadn't come out yet, but I watched the rest of Anita's videos, and I realized it's not just a problem in games, it's actually throughout entertainment. So I wanted to learn more about it on my own, so I started reading some of these books. And you see that popular culture has quite a significant effect. And we, as human beings, we mimic the things that we really like and love. And it affects how we feel about ourselves, our self-esteem, how girls feel about themselves, and how us as guys kind of view girls. These things teach us these elements. So while working on The Last of Us, I had this secret agenda that's becoming less and less secret the more I talk about this stuff. I wanted to create one of the coolest non-sexualized female video game protagonists. And I felt like with The Last of Us, if we did that, there's an opportunity here to change the industry. And I know that sounds pretentious, but that was my goal.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
And I don't like what I see. More specifically, I'm talking about our female characters. And whether we want to admit it or not, these are role models. And yet we sexualize, we objectify, we marginalize, and we reduce these female characters to a lot less than they can be.
Thank you to Nam Hyun Taek, principal character concept designer at Naughty Dog, for this amazing illustration of Eve. Hashtag Stellarblade, hashtag PS5,
what are you talking about, man?
hashtag fan art.
Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
So that dude Hyung Taek Nam got his ass dragged online so bad for even dreaming of disrespecting the beautiful, stunning, and brave Eve, he woke up and apologized.
Oh my God! God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
So artist Nam Hyung Taek has once again drawn Eve for us. We're very grateful for this.
but we always welcome fan art in the style of the previous one. It's not uncommon for fan art to have more of the artist's style than the original, and we think that's a very important and enjoyable point. It's been a rough year in 2024, not just in Korea.
Wow, what's going on in Korea? I mean, there's this one dude who tried to, he tried to institute martial law for like 20 minutes, but...
It's been a rough year in 2024, not just in Korea, but around the world. We hope everyone is living in love. Hashtag celebrate. Hashtag fan art. Hashtag love, love, love.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Bullying works. Shaming works, although not always for a good cause, almost rarely for a good cause, especially the way they use shame in the media and the press. But it's not like anyone was expecting this guy to go back and actually draw Eve again and make her look more feminine or better or anything like that. The main reason everybody was dragging him in the first place was because we knew he was drawing Eve like an angry lesbian on purpose. He works for Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog's whole deal, thanks to Druckmann, is to make women ugly so as to defeat the male gaze. I've done video after video now talking about this. Naughty Dog has had a terrible effect on the Western gaming industry. Because of the accolades and the special treatment they receive in the press, all the other big Sony studios try to follow their MO. And it leads to other studios outside of Sony doing the same thing. So now you have all these developers that see game design through the eyes of a sex-negative feminist. It's so bad that they take characters that are supposed to look like this and make them look like this.
True.
Ew.
This is what I think happened. After the intergalactic reveal, some of the people who were dragging Olivia Munn's butch lesbian ass were also doing the which way Western man meme, and Eve is probably the most popular Eastern option at this point. Maybe even more than 2B, since the Tumblr rejects act like 2B is one of theirs now. So what I think happened, and this is, tinfoil hat time, I think some combination of Druckmann, Nam, and the Sony stooge, the clear Sony stooge that runs the Stellar Blade account, got together and decided to post their version of Eve, who is more than just a sexy fuck doll, or whatever that unhinged IGN France editor was spurting out about. So the idea from their point of view was to show Eve, but to not just show her body, because there's this thing that people are doing now who pretend that they're interested in Stellar Blade. They do this thing. There was this one chick in particular on Twitter. She was going, just a genuine question. Can any of you guys post more than just clips and images of Eve and her body? Can't you show other parts of the game? People's like, no, shut up. This is for us. We like this. If you don't like it, go do something else. And she was being all disingenuous and full of it by going, but I'm just asking a question. I'm not saying it's for me or not. I just think it looks interesting. But all I do is see images of her body. I never see any gameplay. It's like, if you're interested in the game, go research the game. Don't ask us to post stuff for your approval. We don't care if you don't like this or find it interesting or not. So I think what they were doing, as a counter to how people were acting about Olivia Munn or Jordan Munn, whatever, is to show Eve battling monsters, like I'm saying, but not just looking sexy about it, of course. They want to make her look as hard and angry as Abby or Nadine, because it's that whole thing about, well, what's practical? She's not going to look sexy and gorgeous while she's fighting monsters. She's going to look like a hard, angry beast. So they do that, and then, of course, they're going to de-emphasize her famous sexy body by throwing her shape out of whack. Like I keep saying, activists telling themselves when it comes to this sexualization and objectification bullshit by deliberately drawing women to look like men. Men are naturally attracted to women. It's not sexualization. It's not objectification. It's attraction. Enjoying the sight of a sexy, half-naked or fully naked or fully clothed woman is a part of nature. And it's hilarious how much feminists and activists despise male nature when it comes to things like liking women in sexy outfits, but praise it when it's some guy who says he's actually a woman instead. But anyway, not to get into that. The thing is, Nam thought he was doing something with his version of Eve, and they were really banking on their woke side coming to their defense.
She's got health.
And to be fair, they did. But like I said in my last video talking about this, all they could do was say stuff like, it's fine. It's just fan art. It's just his personal style. You know, not exactly the full-throated, unhinged trans defense of Abby back in 2020.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am. Right.
People are tired of this shit. Intergalactic was the straw that broke the Naughty Dog's back. And then, the same week or the next week, the Naughty Dog Twitter account releases this horrible holiday card? And then, the next day, or the Sony compromised Stellar Blade account releases this abomination? Nah, son. They're not going to get away with this shit anymore. They're not going to be able to stand on their smug sense of feminist superiority while shitting on a popular feminine and sexy icon that gamers all rallied around in a year where game journals and consultancy group employees were attacking gamers for being heterosexual. You know, hate the straight. This shit blew up in their face big time. And the only reason why Nam made the apology picture is because he realized his own head was up on the chopping block. This wasn't just a Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann thing. This was his name and his reputation, and he's an actual artist. Whether you like his work or not, he's an artist. And an artist has a reputation to uphold that goes beyond sucking himself off for having the right politics. When it comes down to it, when you're really in the shit as an artist, nothing but your work matters. You look at a picture like this, you see how much it looks nothing like the original subject. You see people dragging you for filth online, and you see these feckless, limp-wristed bundles of sticks so-called defending your work and your intentions by saying things like, it's just fan art. It's fine. You guys are just porn addicts. So what if she's ugly and looks like a man? That's how women are supposed to look. Ain't enough books on young girls' self-esteem in the world gonna make a guy who realizes what people expect from an artist versus what a feminist thinks is going to sit there and go.
So this is me with my daughter at Comic-Con this year. And the thing with Comic-Con is it's kind of like this magical thing where you have comic books and toys and TV shows, and it kind of is a reminder of why I became a game designer, why I joined video games. And as my daughter gets older and kind of becomes her own little person, I get to see more and more of the world through her eyes.
Imagine being an artist and saying, I started seeing the world through the eyes of some little girl. Imagine Corbett going, well, I can't paint the origin of the world now because my 4-year-old daughter won't understand it. Stupid shit like that doesn't fly when you're talking about art. Art isn't a platform for some little girl's self-esteem. Art isn't predicated on whether or not your preteen daughter will get it or like it or relate to it. So Nam was like, fuck that. I'm not going to have these people dragging me because Cuckman's stupid ass thinks butch lesbians are role models for his little daughter. I don't know, this thing where Druckmann and then the Battlefield director, they talk about how their daughters made them change their games when the games are not for girls, but for boys and men. It's ridiculous how they go, well, it's my daughter who came to me and that's why I did it. You're talking to men who are playing these games. You're talking about a predominantly male audience, and you're saying, it was my little girl that made me change it. I changed it because she doesn't understand it. Imagine being a football coach and saying, well, it's too violent for my daughter to watch, so we should stop tackling each other and just play touch football. Better yet, in case the players slap each other too hard, let's play flag football instead. You get the point. Nam was like, fuck you, cucks. That's my ass on the line now, nigga. And it's definitely better, but I don't know. Apparently, there were people online saying how he's a much better artist than the OG Eve drawing, and that's why they knew he was purposely drawing Eve to look like this. So, after this damage control tweet Stellar Blade put out, somebody linked Nam's ArtStation. problem I have with this Nam guy is his Walmart shopper aesthetic. Like, pretty much all of his characters look like they shop at Walmart. Now, a lot of this is concept art for The Last of Us, so I get it's not going to be glamorous, but his faces alone, just his faces, I don't really like them. His early Riley concept art is hideous. She looks like a little dude. I wouldn't even be surprised if that prick Druckmann saw this version of Riley and decided to make Ellie gay. I look at pictures of Maria and Tess. At least Tess has boobs. And it's depressing. They're just planks of wood. They're not, like, these are literally this idea of women are not to be sexualized. That women are just planks of wood unless a man imposes sexuality on them. That's what this art looks like to me. That's what his art looks like to me. And there's this black chick in there who has a pretty face, but she has no body. And it's like, ugh. Now, one thing I did find interesting was the concept art for The Last of Us 2, or rather the scenarios. It really looked like a much more interesting game that was finally shut out. But well. Unfortunately, we all ended up in the worst timeline, where the dumbest, most arrogant member of the Naughty Dog staff got to stay at the studio and help lead Western gaming companies to their impending doom, all because he decided to make games intended for a male audience through the eyes of a little girl.